Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Hello there, I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And welcome to Forgotten Cinema Lead Up. Each episode, we highlight a film from a popular series and follow it all the way to the most recent release. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it, even the not so good ones. So let's get into it. What's going on, Mike?
Nothing, I've been trying to cure Alzheimer's by creating a medicine that also makes apes' eyes green and gives them superhuman intelligence. I don't think there's anything wrong about that. But just to make it a little bit better, I also included a little bit of a deadly flu virus inside of my next experimental drug.
It sounds like
going to go wrong.
It sounds like you're talking about Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
You're right. I thought that was me, but no,
Indeed.
It was James Franco.
Indeed. Yes. So for our lead up series, we're going to watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and we're leading up to that movie by watching all the three that came before it. And what's interesting, and I think Mike had alluded to this on another show, is that I had not seen any of these films. I just never got into the reboot of the franchise. And to be honest, I've only really seen Planet of the Apes, the original from 68.
68,
yeah. And I know that there's other films I never really got into. It was just one of those sci-fi films that it never really stuck with me. So I never really stuck with it. So when these films came out, I never really made a point to go see them. I saw whatever else came out that week. And then it just, as it goes, you just kind of like, oh, well, I never saw the first one. I'm not going to see the second one. Or I'm not going to see the third one. So this is a kind of a little bit of a new thing for me because these movies are brand new to me.
This is very rare, folks. Very rare.
I will say that I had seen pieces of Rise more than the other two. So, so there was stuff here that I was like, okay, all right, I remember that. Okay, I remember that. So, but seeing it all together is much different because then you kind of get a better idea of what you're watching. So let's get into it, and then we'll talk about it. So this film, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, has 105 minutes. It's rated PG-13, has a production budget of $93 million, and it came out on August 5th, 2011. So that second tier summer film, as we like to call, as we talk about a lot of times on the main show. The opening weekend, it did $54.8 million. Domestic, $177 million, international, $305, and for a worldwide total of $482 million. I think I'm rounding up there, but not bad for a movie that's under $100 million in production budget. Production company was Churnin Entertainment and Dune Entertainment, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. Oh, the 20th Century Fox fanfare. How I miss you. They still don't have that, right? They just
some of them do. They just don't have the Fox. It's a little more squished.
It doesn't feel the same. It just doesn't feel the same. So I said it came out on August 5th. It went up against in a wide release, The Change Up, the Ryan Reynolds, Jason Bateman Freaky Friday movie. Did you see that? Did we see that together?
Really? I don't think
you've ever
so.
seen it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's basically what I said. It's the Ryan Reynolds, Jason Bateman Freaky Friday movie. They pee in a fountain.
I forgot all about it existing.
They pee in the fountain, and that's what.
Oh wait,
their lives.
I'm thinking Jason Statham, not Bateman, and I'm thinking I don't know this action movie. Yes, no, I have seen the Change Up. It was forgettable.
I mean, I want to say
being in the fountain is one of the few things I remember.
Yeah, I want to say I liked it, but I don't know. Limited release, you had The Whistleblower that same week. The week after you had on August 12th, you had a couple wide releases, but you actually had a wide release in the middle of the week on August 10th. In terms of that Wednesday, because sometimes there's Wednesday releases during the summer because there's just so many movies that need to get out there. And you had a wide release of The Help, which is obviously an Oscar darling. It did a lot of business, and it did a lot of good during the Oscars. So we both have seen that movie. The 12th of August, which is that Friday, the wide release of Final Destination 5. Which one is that? Where do they go now? That's not.
Is that the one with that might be the one with the tanning booth.
Yes. Is that the one with the tanning booth? Isn't that the one at the end at the movie theater where it blows up?
I want to say yes.
Well, fun fact, I think Butler, because there's a new one coming out, I texted Butler and I was like, listen, there's a Final Destination Bloodlines coming out. I think we need to do a lead-up series for that. So he was all in there. So we'll be covering them. So we'll figure out once and for all.
That's right.
Who died when and how. You also had that weekend a wide release 30 minutes or less in Glee, the 3D concert movie, a Butler favorite. The week before, August 5th, which was July 29th, you had a wide release of Cowboys and Aliens, which I kind of don't hate. I know everyone else does, but I kind of.
It's fun, but it's really stupid. But it was fun
to watch.
There's
a lot of people in that movie too. You don't realize there's a lot of named actors in that film. You also had The Smurfs and Crazy Stupid Love, which is a film that we did on the main show, and a limited release of Attack the Block, The Devil's Double, and The Guard. So that's what you had coming out around that time. This film is directed by Rupert Wyatt, who's done The Gambler, Captive State, TV show The Mosquito Coast, the remake of the Harrison Ford film from the 80s starring Harrison Ford and River Phoenix. This is written by married couple Rick Hoffa, I don't know how you say his last name, and Amanda Silver. They've worked on Jurassic World, Avatar, The Way of the Water, and The Relic. Also, Amanda Silver wrote The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Cinematographer was Andrew. Jeez, Michael. Cinematographer was Andrew Lesney, who's won an Oscar for Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring. He's done Babe and I Am Legend. Composer was Patrick Doyle, who was nominated for 2 Oscars, Hamlet and Sense and Sensibility. Edited by Conrad Buff IV and Mark Goldblatt. Conrad Buff IV was won an Oscar for Titanic. He also did Jennifer 8. He's done a lot of the Cameron films. Goldblatt was nominated for T2 Judgment Day, and he did Halloween, the original Halloween. Yes, the original Halloween. And produced by Peter Chernin, Dylan Clark, and the 2 writers, Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver. If I'm butchering your name, sir, I apologize. Chernин's done Hidden Figures, Ford versus Ferrari, which were both nominated. Clark's done Patriots Days, and we already talked about the married couple, Silver and Jaffa. Andy Serkis plays Caesar, our lead ape, who's a chimpanzee in this. I was reading about like how they reclassified chimpanzees and bonobos those used to be like these chimpanzees are now not classic chimpanzees. Maybe that is what they call them. Did you read all about that? Did you see that? How it's all like different now?
I didn't know they reclassified chimpanzees. I mean, I know what bonobos and chimps are, but yeah, I didn't know.
Bonobos were used to be classified as chimpanzees.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And so they changed that all up. So anyway, Serkis.
I mean, they could just call them messed up chimpanzees because that's pretty much all bonobos are.
He does. That's true. He was obviously Gollum in Lord of the Rings. He's also in 13 Going on 30. He's for you Marvel fans, he's Ulysses Claw, right? Claw. Yeah. Karen Conoval is Maurice. She's also in 2012 and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Terry Notary. These are all the ape actors, as they call them. He plays Rocket and Bright Eyes. He actually played Kong in Kong Skull Island. He's also in Nope. Richard Ridings as Buck, which I believe that's the ape that he releases from the ape enclosure inside the habitat that they're in.
It's like really, yeah.
Yeah. So he's also in Who Framed Roger Rabbit and The Messenger. Christopher Gordon as Koba, the ape, which is the mean-looking ape, which we'll get into. He's more of an assistant stunt coordinator. He's did Mission Impossible, Fallout, Jumanji, Edge of Tomorrow. And then you have the human actors. James Franco as Will Rodman, nominated for an Oscar for 127 Hours. He's also in The Interview. Frida Pinto as Caroline, his I guess love interests / they got married. Well, we'll talk about that. She's in Slumdog Millionaire. Knight of Cups. John Lithgow plays Charles Rodman, Will's father, who is suffering from Alzheimer's in this film, which is Will's impetus to create the drug. He's nominated for 2 Oscars, one for Terms of Endearment and the other for The World According to Garp. He's also in Harry and the Hendersons. Since we're talking apes in this film, that's a that's a classic from my childhood. Brian Cox is John Landon. Surprise! Brian Cox is not nice in this film. He's in the TV show Succession. He's also in Adaptation and X2. Tom Felton, Draco Malfoy, is Dodge Landon. Obviously, I just said he's from the Harry Potter series. He's also in the TV show The Flash. Did you watch The Flash? Did you see him in The Flash?
Yeah, he's in like the 3rd or 4th season. He was on there before I stopped watching it.
He's in a couple episodes. He's in quite a few.
He was one of the main characters during the one season he was on, and then he left.
Okay, well that's good.
Surprised he's not nice in this movie either.
Oh, I don't know how to say his last name, so I'm gonna need your help here, David. Come on, he plays Jacob.
I think it's just Oyelowo.
Oyelowo. Okay, there we go. Whatever.
Yeah.
He's in Selma and The Last King of Scotland. And then Tyler Labine is Robert Franklin. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil and Escape Room. Okay. How many times have you seen this film? And it's
this
entirety?
Would be my third or fourth time in its entirety.
Okay. Did
I
anything
believe.
change for you at all?
No, I really like this movie, but this movie I remember this movie being in our theater for like a crazy long time, like from August to probably October, almost into November. And I think it's still, to my memory, one of the longest movies we had at the theater, at our theater when I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was like, oh, it's so good, you got to watch it. But like you, I've watched the original Planet of the Apes. I watched some of the TV show and a couple of like bits and pieces of the other movies, but I'm not a huge Planet of the Apes guys. I more prefer,
You know more than me.
I prefer Troy McClure's musical Planet of the Apes from The Simpsons.
Simpsons reference. Yeah, there you go. Nice.
So like when the movie came out and I had seen the Tim Burton one and I was like, I really don't care all that much. Like I could care less about this, but then the trailer for what's the next one coming up? Not
Dawn
War.
of the Planet of the Apes.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes came out. And I was like,
for this one, yeah,
No,
the next one in this
Dawn.
series, Dawn. Yep.
and I was like, wow, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes looks pretty good. I guess I have to watch this movie now. So I remember I got it. It was like $2 or something on a Target sale, and I was like, all right, I'll put it in. I'll watch it. Everyone says it's good, so I guess it's worth buying, hopefully. And I was like, that's really good. It wasn't great, but I was like, okay, I could see why people like this. But it wasn't until the next one where I was like, wow, I love this movie. So the next one, this is decent, and it's a good entryway into the next film. But once they get into the Planet of the Apes, which the next film kind of is, that's when I start to really like it. There's stuff I don't like about this film, stuff I like. It definitely isn't as, I don't know, epic and sweeping and adventurous and cinematic as the next two installments. And part of that might be because it doesn't have Matt
Reeves.
the guy who just Matt Reeves, yeah. And I think he added a lot to the movie, the next two movies as well. But there's stuff I like about this movie, but stuff I don't like about it. So depending on what you think about it, which is what I'm going to ask you next, just know it gets a lot better after this.
No, I've already done the notes on the second film because one of the things when we used to do the show, I always watched the movie first and then did the notes. But because we're doing so much different things now, because we're doing different types of content, I've started to do that for movies that for movies that I kind of know, I started to do notes ahead of time now.
Beforehand.
So I've already done the notes for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and a lot of notes are like it's one of the best in the series, and it's like heralded and stuff like that. But in terms of this film, when I'm watching the movie, I got nervous because I'm like, I'm glad you say what you said because I thought you really loved this movie, and I'm watching it going, I got a problem with this. Like, there's some stuff, and we'll get into it, but there's some stuff I just don't. I'm like, what is happening here? Like, I don't.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Because we talk about it all the time. Like, why did that stuff happen? Because it's in the script. It's for the plot's point, like stuff like that. So we can get into that. But yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. There's a lot of stuff I didn't. I really was just kind of questioning. I think when it's obviously when the apes escape the enclosure, and from there on, then the movie finishes strong. I think that's.
Oh, sure, yeah, it takes off.
I mean, like that's when you're just like, okay, this is good. I like this. Everything up until then, I just had a lot of issues with some of the inconsistencies and just some decision making and what's going on and what's happening. I think, and I think one of my notes is that much like the Godzilla films, I don't care about the humans.
Sure,
movie. You know what I mean? I think the ape story or the chimp story.
That's kind of the detriment, yeah, because you're talking about how it starts. So you need humans because you haven't quite got to that planet. Sure. But the humans kind of blow. They're very. I mean, you feel bad for John Lithgow's character, sure. I mean, he's very sympathetic, but even James Franco's character, like, I don't care. They're very one dimensional. They're not well rounded. I mean, look at the bad guys in the Ape Preserve are just clearly just such one dimensional douchebags to all the animals. It's laughable.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Will because my biggest problem with Will is that he basically raises Caesar as an infant, and he has him for 8 years, and he still treats him like a pet. He doesn't there's no emotional connection from Will to Caesar. like I just like when he just like gives them to the ape enclosure, like he like two things. One, when they have him in the house, I don't need to be told that it's illegal to have an ape or a chimpanzee living with you in the middle of suburbia. I mean, I think that's pretty well known. You can't have that. But he's so flippant with like whether anyone's going to find out, like when they go to take him on walks and like you're never going to run into somebody when you go take them on a walk. Like, I mean, like, do you not understand what's going to happen? And
like, even if you're going to say, oh, well, he's a scientist who has monkeys. Well, then I'm going to need to see a scene, like a quick shot where he shows a ranger, hey, I work for this science organization. Yeah. This is what we do for like, just like as stupid as that is, because otherwise it's like you don't take your monkey for a walk. You don't take your chimpanzee for a walk.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't care enough when he has to give up Caesar to Brian Cox at the ape enclosure. He just doesn't.
You can't take him. Oh, I can. Okay.
All right. Oh, I can't. I'll be back. No, this is your home now. I'm like, dude, like you raised him for 8 years. Like, never mind the fact you never. Yeah.
It's flipping for a dog. Like, even if it was a dog, you'd fight harder. This is like basically a human being.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. He's super smart. The Caesar is super smart. You don't try to see how you don't teach him how to bathe, how to eat, how to exist like a human being. He clearly walks on 2 feet because that's what he knows. But that's not ever evident that Will's just sitting there doing all this like science about like, tracking Caesars. But Caesar never learns anything. Like he only learns about the world when he's in the enclosure. He learns more in the enclosure than he does in the 8 years with Will. And I think that makes me not like Will. It makes me just not like it. You know what I mean? I don't root for him. And
I will say that's one thing in this watch I noticed a little bit more than the last watch. I thought it was maybe due to just Will not being a very well-rounded character, but his flippancy to his not caring enough for Caesar is very apparent.
Yeah, and it's just it just makes me not like Will, and it makes me just kind of like, dude, like I don't.
Well, that's fine because James Franco's not in the next one. Probably died from the simian flu.
Yeah, I know. I know. So the other thing I want to talk about Will is when they do the 5 year he meets Caroline. Is that what her name is?
I believe so.
When he meets Caroline at the
zoo.
The zoo, yes. The vet at the zoo. And then it goes 5 years later. Like, and she's living with them. Okay, so are you married? Are you his girlfriend? Like, clearly you've known him for a long time. You're living in the house or you sleep over, whatever. Okay,
I was going to say, I don't know if she lives,
but I don't need to know that. But like, she doesn't know for 5 years that she doesn't know about what you've been doing with Caesar, how smart he is.
This monkey's drawing. He's like got a skateboard in his room. Are you kidding me?
You open the double doors to this room with all your science stuff and all your charts, and she acts like she's never seen it. Like,
this is why we can't use the dining room.
I don't get it. I was just like, what? Like, you don't? Are you that dumb? So it's like that really threw me as well, because I was just like, am I missing something? Did I miss like
the fact that he just brings Caesar to the zoo after Caesar is attacked by another person who should have just called animal control to begin with. And then the zoo, I'm sorry, like, she doesn't report it. Why? Because she wants to have pizza with this guy? Like, come on. Come on.
Yeah. And then another flippant thing that Will does, going back to our point before, is he gives the experimental drug to his father very easily. Like, he's just kind of like, you're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And like, again, in terms of this is for plot, it happens for plot's sake. It's very easy to take all that stuff, like from the crates of AZ-112.
Yeah, no one questions anything. Yeah, I was waiting because there's the scene where he tries to inject his dad, and then you immediately cut to the assembly line of the stuff getting shipped. I thought that they find one that's missing. Yeah, I was like, okay, so they do find a couple of missing vials, and then it never comes up, and I was like, wait. So he never, like, I didn't remember that. I was like, so he doesn't get caught at all?
But he has to go back. But here's the thing. He says he gives him an injection one a month. He only took 4 or 5. So he had to go get
5 or 6. Yeah.
So 5 years passed, which means
by then he told Jacobs, hey, I've been doing this. And Jacobs like, fine, whatever, keep doing it.
No, he doesn't. No, he tells him 5 years later. But I'm saying, but in the 5 years,
but
he's
in
had to
between
go
the 5
back and
years,
get more vials. how'd you get him? Like, so stuff like that. It's just kind of like, don't ask, you don't want to know. And speaking of that, when he tells Jacobs what he's been doing, Jacobs takes it very easy. He's like, oh, really? Oh, can't believe it's working. Okay, no problem. You get whatever you want. Want.
Well, he just becomes this generic, rich guy kind of CEO douche, like an 80s CEO bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's going to cure Alzheimer's. Oh, I don't care. It boosts intelligence. What?
And Jacobs, I feel like the whole subplot of Jacobs and Koba is
it's
just
so tacked on.
It's just so we can have the ending. It's just so we can have at the end of the thing. That's really just.
Maybe I missed it. But why does Koba hate him so much compared to like any of the other scientists?
I don't know. He's just there. And that's because
if anything, Will and the bearded guy are the ones doing the experiments. Jacobs is just watching him be smart.
And he purposely rips Koba when they're giving Koba the gas. He purposely kicks he jerks his shoulder, and Franklin's the guy you're talking about, and it exposes the gas, and Franklin's like, oh, trying to get his mask on. He can't do it. And then, and obviously he gets infected, which he takes it in stride, sneezes blood on, oh, sorry about that. Oh, I'm fine.
Give me 1 minute. Jesus Christ. Is that blood?
I know.
That's what you don't see. That's the scene.
And what's funny is like, he's like, so Franklin's infected and he's just walking around like he's just a slob and he's disgusting and he's sneezing at everybody. Before COVID, I would not believe, I couldn't possibly fathom how stupid Franklin is. Like, I'm just like, what person is like this? But after, I can totally see it because you just mind boggling. Like, you clearly have something that you clearly got it from your exposure. You don't feel the need to tell somebody, like, really, like, go to a doctor, go to Genesis and say, hey, Will, I think I'm messed up here. I think,
I'm sneezing some blood.
It's just so stupid. And then you get the 12 Monkeys ending where he sneezes, just completely doesn't cover his mouth, sneezes all over the airline pilot, the neighbor who happens to be the airline pilot, who's the most hot-headed airline pilot that you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, this guy flies an airplane. He gets angry at the drop of a hat. And then, like, we're supposed to believe that he's the one that's the super spreader. But, like, in reality, Franklin's been walking around town. I'm sure he's given it to a bunch of other people. Yeah.
Well, he's the one Franklin's been spreading it around San Francisco, the greater San Francisco area, and the pilot's just making it worse. So they kind of hone in on the New York City. So then from New York City, I think that's like,
sure. I mean, that's it. Yeah. I just was just like, oh, come on, dude. And to Tyler Bean's credit, he plays that kind of doofus well, because I've seen him in other stuff and he's just kind of like, that's how he is. He plays that well, but like Franklin just annoyed me. But again, I can totally see that in the world now, post COVID, post pandemic, all that stuff. So give me some. Is there something else that I'm missing that because we've been ripping on Will, and we're basically ripping all over the humans in this movie, which I think is part of the problem. I think they're more
that's
of an issue.
Biggest problem. Yeah. I mean, I really don't like any of the stuff. Like, I like the stuff in the ape enclosure in terms of Caesar and his plot line, but like Tom Felton and Brian Cox and the meek little, I don't know if we're supposed to assume that's another family member or just another guy, because Brian Cox and Tom Felton are father son. I don't know. So over the top bad, and like especially Tom Felton, it's like, first of all, it's not believable because chimpanzees can rip off your face. They're 8 times stronger than you. I don't know how long your dad's been keeping this ape enclosure, but there's no way you haven't grown up around these monkeys enough to know you show them some respect because they're going to rip your face off. Like who would be that stupid to the monkeys?
What's the goal of the ape enclosure as well? What's the end game of this ape enclosure?
I don't know, because it seemed like, it's the pound, but it's the pound for monkeys. Like, San Francisco's got that much of an ape issue.
Exactly. Like,
maybe if it was Los Angeles and all the rich people, like, okay, this was Tom Cruise's gorilla, but he got too big.
You can't imagine how many people try to sneak chimps and apes into this town. Like, and here's my other problem with and again, we're going to go back to Will again. They're clearly taking some of these apes for Genesis. Is it Genesis or Genesis?
It's Genesis.
Okay.
No I.
Yeah. So they're clearly taking these apes for that. So, and like at no point Will doesn't go like, because he doesn't bother to get once he becomes de facto leader, and he's like, Jacob tells him, I'll give you whatever you want. Why is his first inclination not to go get Caesar? He leaves.
I wondered this. I have that exact same note. Yep.
Yeah. You don't go get him. You go to pay off Landon. Okay, fine. But like, you take apes from him for your research. You just don't tell him I want him. You just don't say like, do you know, you work for me. I pay you for these apes. Give me Caesar.
I'll get you anything you want. Oh, well, my monkey son is not one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I could care less.
Yeah. So that was another thing. I was just, I did the ape enclosure stuff is cool. Like all the stuff with the apes and all the stuff when he, kind of like takes over and fights the guy that beat him up, the ape that beat him up, and just kind of like gets out. That's all cool. And when they break out, and they start they go to Genesis, basically go to San Francisco. I mean, I'm sorry, but the apes tripled. Like there were not that many apes in the enclosure when they start going down the hill. I'm just like, what happened here? Like, did we just start like cloning all of a sudden?
Doubled and tripled in size.
Yes, but all that stuff is cool. All that stuff I liked. I dug. I dug how they were just like running, going into the redwood, and all that stuff was fine. But there's a lot of stuff in here that's just, come on, like you just roll your eyes.
It's all the human stuff.
But pretty much, yeah. Although I did like seeing Icarus going up, and then I was like, oh, they're gonna bring back Mark Wahlberg. For those who don't know, Icarus is the shuttle or the rocket that goes up in 68. It goes up and it comes down. That's Charlton Heston, who's on Icarus, and he comes down and realizes the planet's no longer human. Same thing with Mark Wahlberg.
He's on a different planet.
Right. Same thing with Mark Wahlberg. Right. He comes down, does the same thing. So I'm curious, are they ever going to get to that? They
always hinted that. That's what I thought this newest one was going to finally be Planet of the Apes, but I guess not.
Well, I read that this is a remake, kind of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. That's what I read. That's in the notes.
It is, well, only in the fact that it's going back to the beginning, and that movie also did, but they're really doing their own thing with it. Sure. They do take some hints, like obviously some of some of the apes are named after apes from the original movie, like Buck is one of the characters from the original movie. The Icarus spacecraft. Caesar was always talked about being the first of their kind to kind of become smart, and he was the first ape to say no. That was Ape's first word, so they wrote that into the movie. So that's really cool. That's a cool little thing. Then they have other things like I think 122 or 112.
Oh, Easy 112. Yeah,
was it 112 minutes? So they kind of like throw little like tiny Planet of the Apes things here or there. But the Icarus spacecraft is definitely, you see it go up into Mars, and then you get another report of how it gets lost in space. So they're definitely working on hinting at that, or they're hinting at that being another movie, but we haven't got there yet.
No, I know. I doubt Kingdom is that. I mean, I think that's something completely different.
Right, unless the trailers are all a lie.
I mean, I kind of hope they do, but I don't want to see a remake of Planet of the Apes. I kind of just hope they kind of bring that storyline and then kind of see it. But I mean, I went through kind of like what the movie's made. I mean, the movies are clearly a big hit internationally. So if you're going to get that money that way, they're going to make more movies. So I kind of hope they kind of go in. I want to see that storyline play out, but not a remake. It's just kind of like whatever they want to do with it.
Sure.
Yeah, this movie didn't start off as a Planet of the Apes movie. It was originally the two writers had done a 2006 project that was called Genesis, and it was about an evil genetically engineered chimpanzee that was raised in a human home, very smart but only spoke sign language. So it's kind of very similar, obviously, to what you see on screen,
right? But
it didn't originate as a Planet of the Apes film. It was just a different script that they blended into the world, which is cool, which is really cool.
Yeah, in the Blu-rays, because I was watching the special features, he mentions that while they were writing that, he kind of came to realize, wait, I'm not writing a separate movie that's dealing with all this information, because he was talking to scientists. I guess he was doing a lot of research for it. He goes, I'm writing a Planet of the Apes movie. I'm not. I'm writing a prequel. I'm not writing my own original movie. So that's when he decided to shift gears, according to him. Whether that's true or not, or the studio just it sucks. Make Planet of the Apes.
He calls it a reinvention If he had to pick between calling it a prequel or reboot, I guess it would be a reboot, but he calls it more of a reinvention of the franchise, which
sure.
and there's plenty of examples of movies that do prequels for stuff that you hear like in what's the name of Rogue One. And Rogue One is spawned from just that couple lines of dialogue in Star Wars, or, people died getting these plans. Like, that's where that spawned from, and they do it well. So there's plenty of examples of it's done well. I think this might be, this whole series, once we get to the end of it, is probably one of the better ones. What does that laugh for?
Well, you're like, once we get past the first movie, I hope the second.
I don't want to, because I don't want to say like this movie is a great example, because there's issues with it. I'm just saying in general, I'm willing to sacrifice this. I'm willing to be like, okay, this film's okay, but the next couple are really good, which we haven't gotten there yet.
It establishes the base to get to them. Yeah.
So did you know that? Would you have been okay with Tobey Maguire playing Will, because he was going to play Will, but he had a deal that involved changing the script, and I guess that fell through. So it was just like whatever he wanted to change. But would you have liked that better if it was him?
I mean, if part of his changes made Will a more complete character, I probably would. James Franco's okay, but he's not like my favorite. I don't think he's an amazing actor. But I think that the problems with Will are not James Franco's fault. I think that the problems with Will are written into the movie the way we discussed. Like, he's just, you can't act concerned, but also like you can be like, I'm going to cry in the scene, but then still walk away from Caesar, and I'll still have the same opinion on, but you still just walked away without fighting. Problems are written into the scripts.
I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they probably just wanted to get to that ending. They just wanted to get to the ape revolution and the ape riot, because that was probably what they were more excited about writing it and putting it and shooting it. And we watched it, and that's what we liked the best. So I think getting to that point was probably just like, let's get there. Cause I think you do run the risk of boring your audience if you just try to go. I think you can still do it, but I think you got to cut a lot of stuff out in that opening 30, 45 minutes that they just left in there. There's really I think my biggest issue, now that I'm keep thinking about it, because we haven't even talked about Will's relationship with his father at all. I just don't think it's there. I just don't think it's written well there. I just don't think there's any. Will kind of leaves a lot. The character of Will, the way he's written, leaves a lot of emotional. I know, like a playground of emotions that just are left on the table that we don't ever get to see. Yep. And it just kind of affects, we talked about it affects our view of his relationship with Caesar. I think it affects our view of his relationship with his father, and even like his girlfriend / wife, or whatever happens in those 5 years.
You get nothing between them. They have no chemistry at all.
And they do the same thing to Caesar too. What's up?
Oh, with Caesar too?
Well,
with Cornelia?
Yeah. So they clearly had some kind of romance with Cornelia that I don't know why they still kind of insisted on getting him to Genesis when he sees that Cornelia was taken, because you showed us nothing. You showed her one time, and Caesar looked at her and she was kind of sitting there, and that was it. And then the other time he looks and she's not there, and he realizes, let's go to Genesis. I guess we're supposed to assume he wants to get every ape out of there. Let's go. We're all going to go home, but like, you'd show us nothing in terms of any kind of romance with him. And I get why you don't do that, because you want the story to go along, but it doesn't make a lot of sense why he's like, let's go to Genesis, just because he sees that she's not there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get why you go there, unless you go there to go get the more aerosol stuff to make all the other apes smart, which they don't make those apes in the zoo smarter, right? When they go and rescue them.
Not yet. You don't know what they did at Genesis. There could be a scene where Kobe grabs a big bag of smart stuff.
But that's what I'm saying. They don't. So they don't ever.
Right.
They don't, exactly. You know what I mean? They bust them in. They're just like, let's go, follow us. Okay. These apes just don't start fighting each other. They just start following.
Yeah. Just take a giant piece of poop and throw it at one of their faces. Oh, I forgot you're a stupid one of their stupid brothers.
So this was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visual Effects. Now something I like to do, Butler, is it didn't win, but you're going to tell me what won.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
These are in alphabetical order. So there's nothing like I'm going to, you're not getting the first one or second one or whatever like that. So Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, Hugo, Real Steel, which is our first episode for the main podcast return on season 17, and Transformers Dark of the Moon. Which won the Oscar over this film?
What was the first one again? Oh, never mind. I remember. Harry Potter.
HP and the DH.
Is it Hugo?
It is Hugo. Nice job. Well done. Well done.
I thought I remember being like, really? Hugo won't beat Harry Potter?
Well, I'm surprised they usually give it to the last film of a series when it doesn't win anything else. Yeah, no. This did
that
win.
last battle was pretty cool.
Yeah, this did win Best Sci-Fi Film at the Saturn Awards, Best Special Effects, and Best Supporting Actor, Andy Serkis. So that was cool. It also had some alternate titles. Did you know that?
I know that. Lay them on me. What do we got?
Planet of the Apes, Genesis, Genesis, Apes, Caesar, and then Caesar, Rise of the Apes.
I do think I remember it being called Caesar because I think that's when articles were coming out about it being made. It was called Caesar.
When it was going out to theaters, it was coded. Something, if some people don't know who work at movie theaters, when you get like a hard drive, you get a delivery, or you get the 3D, the prints. On the outside, sometimes they don't put the name of the movie because they want to hide it, that they don't want people to know that they're getting it. So they kind of give fake names. This movie's fake name was Salad. I don't know why.
Because Caesar
Salad.
Salad.
Nice job. So that's what this film was Salad. So little nugget for you there.
What did you think of Maurice?
I mean, it was good to have somebody who could sign, so you kind of had that interaction. He's fine. I don't know. It's just, it was fine. I didn't really.
He's an important character in the next.
That's fine. That's not this movie though.
Yeah, I like him. I like when he says, when the apes are fighting after Caesar gives this whole like apes together strong, and then the apes like fight over a bucket of water, and he just goes, "Apes dumb," and walks away.
He's not wrong. That's what gives him the idea to go get the aerosol spray, which he just like. So right. I know what I wanted to ask you. When he gets the aerosol spray and he puts it in there, the aerosol AZ-113 now it's called,
right? And
they all breathe it in. Does Caesar breathing it in make him even more smarter?
That's what I always took away from it. That's why he's standing even taller and he can now speak.
And also, like, I know that we're saying that the airline pilot was kind of the one that spread it everywhere, but like, that aerosol spray that Caesar did was kind of not great for everybody. That if a human breaks,
absolutely, yeah.
that probably helped as well. And I'm surprised that Will showed no signs of being sick. Like it
doesn't affect everybody.
Well,
the simian flu affects like one in every 5 people or something like that. They explain it in the next movie. That like decimated the world, but there are still humans left. It doesn't kill everybody.
Okay, well, I guess that's something to look forward to for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
So Will's just very, very lucky.
Oh, what a guy!
He's got that plot armor on.
I know that one of the other points of this film was that like Caesar doesn't kill anybody, right? Like that's a big thing. Like
he kills Tom Felton's character.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was going to say.
He doesn't want to kill anybody.
He kills Dodge. So
but he does. It's an accident. He doesn't know he's going to get electrocuted to death. He's just trying to use water to say back off. Mm-hmm. And Tom Felton's stupid enough to turn on his taser gun while a hose is being pointed at him.
Well, you can't hold that against Dodge because he's clearly working Clopens, because he's not only working he's not only working in the day shift, but apparently he works nighttime security as well, and he works the next morning. Is he always on? Is there I know there's another guy there, but like Dodge is there all the time. Does he? I mean, he's burnt
out. He didn't start being mean to the apes. He lost his mind.
He used to be a good one. He used to be a good guy. But then what happened? I was just like, what? And then like his job is like ape handler, security. Like he's doing like all these different things. Like, what do you do, Dodge?
Yeah. If there are like 50 apes, yeah, you'd think they'd have more than 3 guys working.
Mm-hmm.
which apparently like a deleted scene. I guess the guy with the stutter, the cowardly guy with the stutter, is more like a vet.
Is
Because
he?
he's like, it's a deleted scene where he's got one of the other monkeys strapped down and he's working on it, like helping it. And then Caesar's also strapped down. I think it's after their fight and they get knocked out.
Okay.
And Caesar's like all mad and he's like, would you like a cookie? And that's where Caesar gets the idea to get cookies to get the apes.
Okay.
But he's like, sorry, buddy, I can't let the straps out. But he's working on the other monkey. The other ape. I'm sorry.
But then Caesar lets them beat the crap out of the guy, though. He doesn't really.
Oh, he stops them once it starts. He's like, oh, whoa.
Hey, what's going on here? Not so hard. Not so hard.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, like chimps are super strong. Those 6 or 7 punches were enough. That guy is dead.
Yeah, he didn't seem like it didn't seem like it affected him too much. He was just like, oh god, I'm just sore.
I gotta brush this these 2-ton chimpanzee fists off. I guess I'll be fine. And is he sleeping when they find him? Is he like under a blanket like, oh, what's going on?
No,
or is he cowering under the blanket? I don't get that.
He's cowering. I don't know. How about like talking about stupid things? How about when we didn't even talk about the biggest thing, Bright Eye's death, the whole Bright Eyes, Caesar's mother.
Oh, that's so I hate that scene. It's so dumb.
She runs around, she charges, she goes crazy. She goes into the room where they're doing their presentation, and then the security guards just fire into the room full of people. There's clearly people in there, and they're just unloading their weapons in there. Okay, fine.
Will's literally across from Bright Eyes, and they're shooting directly toward Will and Jacob.
Unloading in there. But not only that, you were in a facility where you clearly are testing these apes, and they're in a controlled environment. You're checking blood. You don't know that she's pregnant. You have no idea that she is giving birth.
She gave birth.
Yeah.
That's why she doesn't want to leave the enclosure. Baby Caesar is under the bed.
you I start questioning the
intelligence of these scientists.
Yeah. Like, how do you not know? How do you not know? So as soon as when the movie started off and as soon as that happened, I go, how do you not know she's pregnant? What is going on here?
Yes, she had a baby. I'm sorry. Aren't chimpanzees essentially humans? Aren't they 99% human, basically? Like, why? I'm pretty sure she went into labor at some point. It doesn't just pop out like a giraffe. What's going on
baby. Friday's over there. She's just being weird today. Don't worry about her. She looks like she's pooping.
I think she's
a big poop. That's a really big poop over there. Like, come on. Oh, God. I so dumb.
The ape stuff's good though.
Did you see about the original ending, which they filmed, where they kill Will? Will dies on screen. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
So let me read this.
I would have liked
that. So in the final cut of the film, Will tries to get Caesar to go with him, tell him to come home, and he responds, Caesar is home. He does all that. I don't know if he does it the same way, and then Will lets him go because the graphic they show before the end credits shows like the spread of the virus worldwide. I guess it's assumed that Will eventually dies, but in the original ending, they're in the forest, Caesar and Will in the forest, and when Will is trying to convince him to come home, they're interrupted by a bunch of soldiers, and Caesar's about to get shot, and Will shields him from getting killed, and the bullets it hits him and he gets killed. And then it was like a month before the movie was going to be released, they changed their minds. So they had Franco and Serkis flew in over the 4th of July weekend to shoot the ending that is in the movie that I just talked about to start off, where he's like, Caesar's home. So like initially he was going to be like, no, and then he's going to get shot. So, I mean, this ending's better. Like no, I don't like that at all.
This ending's better, but like, it's still like, he doesn't care enough to say like, I love you. Like, this is your child. There's no hug. There's no embrace.
He doesn't. There's no connection. Yeah.
He doesn't emote. He doesn't say, I'll miss you. I love you. Go get him, pal. Like,
Nothing. It's stupid. It's not. It's dumb. Will's. We already talked about Will and how much we don't like him and character, or the fact that when they're going to test, I keep saying AZ. It's ALZ. When they're going to test the new ALZ 113, and they want to do it to a new chimp, they pick the scariest looking chimp to do it to because he puts his hand out and he wants more cookies. It's like, you don't look at him and go like, he clearly looks like Stripe from Gremlins, but you're gonna make him the smartest one. He looks like he's gonna beat the crap out of you, regardless if you give him this ALZ 113. So it's like, why? Like he's the one? No one says like he looks like he's a badass. No, let's not give it to him.
It's because he's the smartest. That scene where he puts his hand out again for the cookie is straight out pretty much from the original Planet of the Apes when Charlton Heston's more, and the monkey's like, oh, okay, all right. So this is kind of like a twist on that.
Okay, that works, and that's cool. So I got some
reviews.
What's the word I'm looking for? Reviews. They're all pretty good, so you'll probably agree with them. On Whole of Darkness,
as much as we've been dumping on the movie, yeah, probably.
I know. Well, that's true. The New York Times praised the film by saying, precisely the kind of summer diversion that the studios have such a hard time making now. It's good, canny, dumb fun. I don't know if back then studios were having a hard time making these type of films. I think now that it's really serious now.
My thing would be, it's not really campy, dumb fun. It's kind of intelligent fun. Like this movie has themes, and I think the themes, as dumb as the people are in the movie, the themes presented in the movie are strong, and I think that's a problem that I haven't so much mentioned on the lead ups or the now showings lately, but I know throughout Forgotten Cinema, that's a big thing. Anytime we do more modern films, is where's the theme in this movie?
Well, I mean, whatever the AI is writing, I don't know if the AI is thinking about theme. I think
depends on what your prompt is at the beginning.
Exactly. Nick Pinkerton of The Village Voice wrote that Caesar's prison conversion to charismatic pan-ape revolutionist is near silent filmmaking with simple and precise images illustrating Caesar's general-like divining of personalities and his organization of a group from chaos to order. I mean, I agree with that, but I don't think we have to get that in depth. He just told him who's boss. He beat the biggest guy in the enclosure, and he clearly is smarter than all them. They know that, and he's just like, "You're going to listen to me. You're going to listen to me now." Much like Doc Ock telling his arms, "Listen to me." That's what it is.
And like you said, if this is the guy's review, it's like he's talking about the last 40, 50 minutes of the movie, just like we are. How that's when the movie really gets going.
Yeah, sure, totally. I mean, are we going to skip? I mean, but Nick, are we going to skip over the first 45 to an hour?
Sounds like these other critics are.
Peter Travers of the Rolling Stone noted that the film has a mix. I'm curious if you agree with this. Has mixed twists lifted from 1972's Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, which you already talked about, but that's not one. And 1999's Deep Blue Sea. Explain to me that, Butler. What is he referencing?
I like it, probably because in Deep Blue Sea, the sharks are supposed to cure Alzheimer's as well, or dementia. So
just because they're using, so that's it. That's the connection.
And there's animals there. Yeah. And just like in Deep Blue Sea, at one point in Rise, I guess you forgot this part, Samuel L. Jackson said, "We're going to get off this base and we're going to beat these sharks and we're going to get the hell out." And then a giant monkey comes and eats them. You don't remember that scene?
That's a side effect. The sharks got smarter.
Also, the LL Cool J rap at the end of Rise of the Planet of the Apes that they cut, unfortunately.
You ate my bird. You ate my bird.
You ate my bird. Deepest, bluest. My hat is like a shark.
I like Deep Blue Sea. I mean, it's.
Oh, so do I.
But that's more stupid, campy fun.
That's canny fun. Yeah, that's that first review.
Yeah. No, that's not. Yeah, Deep Blue Sea is definitely that type of film, and that going in. It's like that first scene. You're just like, all right, here we go. I get it. Like, this is like a slow build. So yeah.
Right.
Something on the main show we always talk about, if you would recommend it. I'm not going to say why it's forgotten, obviously, because that's not what we're doing here. But I mean, I don't know if a Planet of the Apes type film is something that is a general audience type film. Like, I don't know if this is something that you could recommend to a casual film goer. I mean, I think you really have to be into sci-fi, maybe. I don't know what you think about that, because
I come into it having the knowledge of the other two movies.
Right.
So I would have to recommend it because I would absolutely recommend 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if 2 and 3 hadn't come out yet and they were like, "Hey, watch this movie." I mean, obviously people were, because like I said, it was in the theater for like 5 months or 4 months or something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would have, I don't know. It would be tough because it's not really the last 20 minutes. Yeah, have action, but the rest of the movie is not really an exciting, fly by the seat of your pants adventure movie. It's kind of a slow watch Caesar kind of grow up movie. So,
and it's not, and those the originals are so old. They're almost 50 years old, over 50 years old. And they're and the technology and the style of filmmaking is so different that if you met somebody that loved these films or loved the first film, I don't know if you could be like, oh, well, you should check out the originals. I don't think they would like the originals because the originals are so vastly different.
Oh, the OGs. Yeah. I would have a hard time recommending the original Planet of the Apes to anybody.
I mean, those are almost the types of films that you recommend to people that are film aficionados, that are, cinephiles that just want to watch what the original stuff was, and knowing going in that they're going to be, not as good visually. Maybe there might be some better stuff in there, story wise, and just thematics, like themes and stuff like that we talked about. Charlton Heston, who's a fantastic actor, going in knowing that. It's one of the things that I find fascinating. I was going to say one of the things I struggle with. One thing that I find fascinating is that, when you meet somebody who's like in their early 20s or mid 20s or even 30s, I know you're in your 30s, but early 30s, they haven't seen a lot of the films that I've seen. And so when I talk about some films, they're just like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? It's like, I find that, like, I can't believe you never heard of this film. I can't believe you never heard of this film. So it's I know that I would know a bunch of people that had never seen Rise of the Planet of the Apes. So even getting to see this film and then be like, you should check out the one from 1968. I highly doubt they would be into that. Plus, it'd probably be difficult to find. Yeah. So I think these films, I guess you could probably get, this one's probably more so, maybe this one's a little easier for people to digest because it's a lot more human stuff than it is ape stuff. Whereas in the next ones, I'm imagining it's a lot more ape stuff going on and probably more action based and more, more sci-fi. I don't know. I don't know.
They're more action based, but I think even though it is way more ape based, the apes are far more well-written, well-rounded characters than any of the humans in this movie. Mm-hmm. So it's way easier to root for them, to care about them, to watch them than in this film. And as we go into 2 and 3, there might be issues. I might have issues where, like, maybe the human characters in those aren't as well established. But because they have so little screen time compared to, like, Will, it's not as big of an issue.
Well, I will say this, that watching this, I'm definitely interested in looking forward to watching the next ones, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which is the next one, which is our next lead up series. So I'm definitely interested in say, okay, I want to see that. I want to, check that out. So it does set the table well. So I will say that, like, it does leave me wanting more, which is what you want in this type of film. That's basically an IP and a series starter. So I will say that. But yeah, so I mean, I think that's a good spot for us to, I guess, end this conversation. Unless you had other things you wanted to chat about that we haven't brought up about Rise, we can.
No,
okay.
I think we're good. I'm very excited for Dawn. I'm very excited to see what you think about that, because I really like that film. So
that's the next one in our lead up series. We're gonna do Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, all the way leading up to when Mike and I go and watch Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on May. We don't watch it on Friday, so it's the May 12th. 13th, May 13th. I think we see it that Monday, which we'll do for our live show. But I will let Mike now tell you all the nice stuff that we do. Kind of give you like what Forgotten Cinema is all about. Mike, take it away.
Whew. All right. Like Field said, we got the lead up series for Planet of the Apes coming out. We also do our Now Showing series. The next one, actually probably the same day this releases, we'll be doing our live stream for the League of Ungentlemanly Warfare that night. And then that episode will come out the next day. So we're not just waiting for Planet of the Apes. We're doing stuff in between then. May 1st, our actual show starts again. We premiere season 17 with Real Steel. I think Field mentioned that earlier. So that's exciting. And then we've also got you're watching this on the lead up. So you're already a Patreon member. We are going to maybe, we've been talking, we've been watching some stuff, listening to some sage advice. So you might be switching up the Patreon a little bit. You're not going to lose any of your perks. We just think that we're going to give some stuff to free members as well. Kind of open up the Discord. You guys will still have exclusive Discord stuff. But we want to bring more people into the community, into the conversation. So hopefully you guys will see that start happening pretty soon.
Invite your friends. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. If you have people that don't know Forgotten Cinema but like talking movies, and haven't really listened to the show yet, but want to talk to people about movies and stuff, have them join the free tier on the Patreon to get on that Discord and let us know what you guys think about like Planet of the Apes or the League of Ungentlemanly Warfare or whatever. We're going to be on there a lot talking about movies. So we hope that more people join in that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to building the Forgotten Cinema community, the Forgotten Cinema brand, but we can't do it without you. So we're Mike and I are really looking forward to kind of it's just seeing who we meet and seeing where this goes. But yeah, so until then, I am Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema Lead Up.